getting a straight lulav is nice, but usually, many times it bends a little back. Well, this is the shedra, this is called the shedra. This piece here, the spine. This is the shedra of the lulav, and the sit down. This is the shedra of the lulav, and and it bends backwards. Sometimes it bends backwards because that's how it grows. Sometimes that's the spine. That's how you hold the tuzi when you shake it. The halacha says many times you'll find it bending to the side. If it bends an extreme amount, that's possible. Kamagal. It's possible.
Kamagal.
It's called if it bends like a...
Kamagal means side bending or means possible?
It's like
a sickle, it bends like a sickle. So that would be possible. Now, rarely do you find a lulav bending forward. See? This bends actually forward. Instead of bending backwards, it's bending forward.
Let me see.
See, look, it bends here. Pops up a little bit.
You can see when you look.
You mean because the spine is bending towards you?
Yeah, normally the spine will bend back. Will bend out, like this one. Bend out. This one, or which one was I holding?
I gotta see it, right? I don't know what you're talking about.
You'll see it most of love in the psyche. Hey, look, you hold it straight, it goes out like a sword,
Yeah, but with the spine going towards me, going away.
Going away, that's right.
Okay.
The spine going
But if you're holding this towards you, shouldn't everything be in reference to when you're supposed to shake it?
Yeah.
So in this case, it's not out, it's in.
Yeah, well, you could call it in. What I mean is towards the spine. It usually goes back. This is bending forward, away from you.
In the back.
Right, this is bending away from you, which is very rare.
Well, I'm sorry, which is rare when it goes the opposite direction?
When it goes the opposite direction.
Okay, can I see it so I see what you're talking about?
Well, the reason why it's kosher is because it's a very small hair. This also has an arch. Look at this.
Oh, so this is the opposite direction. I see.
Oh, yeah,
that's
even more significant.
It's even more significant. You see, it's going up and it goes back.
Okay.
It's very rare.
What is ideal?
That's not ideal. Ideal is if it's straight.
Oh, just straight. I see.
This is really a pasos, but it's kosher because it's a small amount. If it be a large amount, or something like this maybe, which is like there's an extreme bump on it.
It's a hunch.
Like a hunch, like a turtles, a hunch. So that's not so geschmack either. I wouldn't tell someone to buy it. That's one thing. It was very rare. I thought I'd show it to you. Now, how you check a lulav is not like that. Where you check it is, it's good if it has a geschmack shake. But you want to see if you're Ashkenazi, if you're Svard, you go bust a roiv of the top leaves. So roiv of the top leaves, or towards the top, these are a little dried out. You see, these leaves are a little dried out. Not terribly, just kosher. It's kosher. Yeah, this one's even more. Look at the back side. See if I can find a even more dried out one. These aren't so dried out. I have a few inside there. So if it's dried out, yavish could be a problem. Mikra then it's kosher if it's not roiv the leaf. But if it's the Ramaz Machmir, especially on the middle leaf, based on the Raven, now the middle leaf you check, just to show you, go up the Shedra.
What's the Shedra mean?
The Shedra is the spine. You go up and up and up, all the leaves are splitting off, right? You go up and up and up. It's interesting to note, like this Shedra goes all the way up till here. This is the top of this, this is the top, and then it splits the last split. This is the top of the thing. Many who love in the Shedra will end over here. You got to look at it. There's a big nafkamina la'alocha, because you're supposed to keep your hadassim. The lulav, the size of the lulav is the size of the shedra. This lulav is this tall.
So that's really, it's got nothing to do with this extension.
No, these are leaves that are coming out.
Right.
The spine ends over here.
Okay.
So if you have a short lulav, which we have a few, if you'd have a short lulav, now the hair, this also goes pretty high, the spine. The spine goes to
Let's
here.
imagine we had a short one to make your point.
Yeah, some short ones there, I'll have to look through it. But if you have a short one, let's say it was cut from here to here, you have to have 4 tfachim to have a kosher lulav.
Minimum of 4 from bottom
till
to
the spine.
Ends.
Till the spine ends.
Before
and
splits.
what we usually, most of them are okay. But what happens is when you put on your hadassim and your aravis, when you put on your hadassim and your aravis, they should be a tefach under the spine. They shouldn't be sitting all the way up here.
Right.
There should be a tefach under where the spine ends. So the spine ends there. There should be hadassim and the aravis a little lower. Now if this,
and then you count back from there.
Yeah, the hadassim does have 3 tefachim. If you have a,
can you cut the hadassim back to make it fit?
Yeah, or you could just hang down low.
Okay, that's true. Well, depending on how long it is,
depending on how high it is. If here the shedra ends here, so that's over here. People don't know that, but that's where your lulav goes to the shedra, and you measure downwards. So when you go looking at the lulav, so you open it up, you go to the shedra, and you look for the middle leaf. Now in this case, this is the middle leaf pashtus, this one here. This is the middle leaf. And you look to see what it looks like. Now in this one you could see that it's split. See, it's split. Split all the way down.
Where they unite.
The more I pull it, the more it splits. It's split all the way down. So now halacha it's kosher unless it's split to right of the way down. The Taz's machma shouldn't be split more than a tefach, which is so far borderline. And so that's being split. There is an issue which is called a hemnik. Now, a hemnik. Now it's not clear what's called a hemnik. Hemnik is if it looks like two leaves. See, it looks like two leaves. So it looks like, if you look at it, it looks like two leaves. It may be a hemnik. Now many places come on makel that if it lies, it looks like one leaf. That's fine. But sometimes you have in some lulavim where it actually here, like this one here, where it actually. Look how this lies. It splits off the two forks.
You don't even have to pull them apart.
You don't have to pull them apart. They're permanently lying like that. That's a bigger problem of a hemnik. A hemnik is actually puzzle. The split is kosher, unless it goes down right. But if it has a hemnik, it's a passus. So therefore, we have to be, Mishabur says, to be very careful about the hemnik. That's very common in a lot of lulavim. Now most of the times it's a small amount, which is fine, but sometimes it goes out like a fork. If it goes out like a fork, then you have a problem like this. Also, it's starting to go out. And it's a small amount, so I have to know. I just want to show you, this is also a little dry here. Let's see how it's dry. It became white over there. It's a little dry. It's still wet enough that it's kosher, but it's starting to get dry. And here you have a leaf that's dry also. You see, it's not the middle leaf, but look how dry it is. It's turning white. So that's yavish. It's not the middle leaf. Now another thing you have to be careful of, which is a svardim machmar on it, is niktam. If the tip is cut off, is cut. Now a lot of times they'll have on lulavim.
What was Rosh talking about this one? Just to the side? Or should we still, this is close to this one?
It's close, yeah.
So this is also one, this is from the nicer ones.
These are for a chinuch set. Now in Maisa, these things is very important to understand. These things could be kosher the second day. So a hemnik is only possible first day. First day, because a hemnik is a psul chassid. There's two types of psulim you can have. Something that's missing, or something that's just not hodar. Something that's not hodar like is possible for 7 days. Something that's missing, chassid, like an esrog we'll see. Esrog chassid.
Like the pitam.
We'll get to the pitam. But something which is chassid is only possible the first day, not the second day. So
we hold the second day is like the first day in?
That's a good question. The Chutz La'aretz, the second day like the first day. We'll come back to the Esrog. But if you have Chasim, so then it's going to be, it's possible the first day, it's not going to be possible the second day.
This means
Hadar,
something is missing.
Something is missing.
So, but you don't want to talk about if the pitam is missing.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Is that a different category?
We don't mean like
I'm just saying for like a hemnik, even though I'm saying it's possible, it's only the first day. The second day it's kosher.
So that would be considered something missing?
That's considered missing, yeah. If it's split, it's a shaila. If it's split also, split all the way down, could be it's kosher the second days. So it's only a problem the first day. These things are problem the first day.
The hemnik again.
Yavish is possible all 7 days. But
what is the hemnik again? That's when the middle leaf
is split.
Is split. Okay. And you do or you don't want? You don't want it to be split.
You don't want it to be split, but after the first day, it's okay.
Got it now.
Now, I mean, it's always muhudah to have it together.
It's not the type of thing that would happen afterwards. Though. Like, I mean, some things, like it's okay on the first day and then open, shaking, and
they dry.
They open up and they dry, sure. Sure what happens. Many times you have koira on the top. Well, here's a lulav with koira on the top. You see this brown stuff?
Yeah.
This brown stuff is called koira. Now, many people buy a lulav with koira because it's closed.
And once you take it off, and then it opens.
But then you don't know what's underneath.
So the Yaakov holds its kosher, as it is. That's considered closed. That holds it closed. That's considered closed. Muhuda people will look badavka for a lulav that has koira on it, and they know it's a lulav they could have. Many people will say, don't hold like Bukuri Yaakov, and say, well, it's not really closed. We can't count that. But then they won't buy one with koira because you can't see what's going on inside. Look, you have no clue what's happening inside. And then they'll go to the store, they'll start playing with it, scraping with it, and then they'll open, they'll see it split.
That's not good for the store.
You could have used it.
Says, you have to pay me for it,
Yeah, because I could have sold it to the people who like it that way.
But that's basically what it is. So this is a koira on top. And it might be split, it might not be split.
But there are opinions
There's
to
only one way to
rely
find
on.
out. There are opinions to rely on. Some people buy a lulav.
Would you buy one? Would you use it?
I won't use it, but many people will use it.
The question is, are you better off with that than you are with one that's obviously not good, right? So if you have to choose from,
Sure.
and sometimes you're in that situation where you have to make a choice.
Sure. Okay, so you can pull it up from the bottom. There's a way to do it carefully that you don't split it if it's not a ready split. Sometimes it's not a ready split. You can take it off carefully. Sometimes you actually split it by breaking it off to soak it in water.
You
There are
really
ways to
should
do
pay
it.
for it.
It's probably closed because it's a baby lulav, and the baby lulav are usually closed. So that's what the lulav.
So is it an advantage to getting a smaller one for that reason? That
So the Litva Shalom looks for closed. They don't care how thin it is. The Hasidic Shalom need a nice rubbish lulav. You know? Big one. I wouldn't get this one. Some lulavim have on it mold. So this is mold.
Right.
It's mold. Many lulavim have this was sitting in a box. If you can wash it off, it's not mold. With mold. This also has a little mold. Take a look at this. See that?
Yeah.
That's mold. Come off if you wash it off. It'll come off.
is that something one should do before using
Get
it?
it off.
To make it more-
For the lulav is not geschmack.
Right.
It's moldy.
This is here,
But it's still kosher, yeah?
It's kosher.
No,
Sure,
no,
it's kosher.
during
So that's a lulav.
anyone thought of to ask, they got it.
Anything else for lulav?
Hmm.
So basically, you take your lulav, check how straight it is, it's nice, it's fresh. Then you look for the middle leaf. You figure out which is the middle. Sometimes they end with 2 middle leaves. It's hard to tell sometimes. 2 middle leaves. You check the middle leaf. You go up. There's one very important halacha, which I didn't mention here. We have a lulav in there, a few of them like that. Every leaf is split in half. I'm going to pull out a leaf from the bottom just to show you. Okay, every leaf is split in half. Right? This is how it comes out. This is called a tiyumas. See, it's split. Make believe it's the middle.
Just folded.
It's just folded. Every leaf is folded. Little tiyumas actually means, according to some Scheiner, that this little piece at the end is taken off. You take this piece at the end, and it's obviously going to be split. According to many Rishonim, this is called a tiyumas. We call the tiyumas the whole middle leaf, but not necessarily. Now, many times you'll find, and it's quite common, that the lulav is folded over, but it's not fully folded over. It's only folded over partial way. And you can see, if you look at the middle leaf, that it goes like that. It's folded over, only halfway. Based on many places, and others, if it's not rubai, it's possible. If it comes over only a little bit, it's quite common. I've had quite a few lulavim here like that they're folded over, but they're not fully folded over, especially by the middle leaf. See if I can find a few.
Is that what they call a knippel?
That's not a knippel. A knippel, I'll show you what a knippel is. This is not a knippel. This is
The
just
more you
confident.
know, the more you sort of hands
See this? You see how it bends forward? I told you there's a psof the lulav bends forwards, right?
Yeah.
So this is not a lulav, it's the leaf bending forward. Bending forward. So this is not really bending forward. You have a better one in there. This is not really bending forward. This is just what they call a stavensich. You know, stavening. That's not called bending forward. But if you have it was bending all the way forward and down, that's called a kneppel. And the Rosh says oyavani es kneppels because they stay closed.
So he likes it better.
So he likes them. Other Rishonim didn't like it because they held it was called kafuf, which is possible. So the Rosh held it wasn't kafuf unless the shedra was kafuf. The shedra is bent like we said, like this little here. Right?
So do you really, I mean, do you have to hold by one posting, or can you pick and choose? Like, you know, the Esrog I hold by...
A lot of the Hasidim
question.
A lot
I'm
of the
saying it's like-
Hasidim get kneppels. A lot of the Hasidim get kneppels.
But I'm saying if you hold by the Hasidim for one thing, then you have to sort of maintain that when you're shopping for the Esrog as well.
Yeah. That's a kneppel. But anyways, this happens a lot. I wish I had a lulav there to show you. I do have, but I have to search it out. If it's not folded over fully, if it only goes like this, right, it's only folded over a little bit by the top, it's not rubai, it's possible. So that's an important thing to remember. Okay, that's the lulav. Going to the esrog. They have an esrog here. We told them to get another esrog. What do you get? Just pull some esrog up here. That's such a good esrog to show. This one's probably puzzle, because it has a shinimara on it. See, these are black.
Yeah.
See that?
Right in the top.
That's around the top anyways. So this is a shinimara. It's not dirt, it's buffaloed a little bit.
The first thing we're looking is the nose of the...
So this is an esrog. Now, an esrog, the question is, did you get a lemon? So it's a hard question to answer because the esrog tree is a very weak tree.
This is a grafting issue.
Yeah, it's a grafting issue. It's a very weak tree, and they don't last. So therefore, what many people do is try to graft them with other fruits. Now,
excuse me?
With lemon basically.
Yeah.
They graft it with lemons and it makes it stronger. Lemon is a strong tree. Esrog is a very weak tree.
So is it a lemon tree or is it an esrog?
Halacha l'maisa.
That's the title of the lecture.
That's yeah. So halacha l'maisa, esrog amurkavil is possible for various reasons. Now, assumingly, any esrog that has a hechsher is not murkav, but there are those that are machmir.
What does that mean?
It's not a mix between
a graph.
lemon and
Okay.
But the question is, who was this esrog zeda?
Right.
Do you know that way back it wasn't?
You need the yichus of the...
So many points hold it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you use a branch of a tree that was murkav. It doesn't matter. So mikra din you're okay, but there are those that will be machmir to get a it's called the esrog, that's chazanish esrog or something, which we knew the esrog was at one point kosher. Yeah. That's it. The truth is every esrog has a little lemon in it because it pollinates. It works.
Do we go majority then too?
But you're saying it naturally does that?
Naturally does it, which is okay. But grafted is not good. Now, the esrog is like this. There are simonim for an esrog. The bumps for one. Simonim. The inside of shakua, you see it goes down. Some go more than the others. Let's remember which one I got which one. This goes here. Some are more shakua than others. It's hard to tell, but it goes in by the ukets. This is the ukets, and that's a sign of an esrog, not a lemon. If you cut it open, the side of esrog goes inside. Well, you don't need it, but it is. And then,
you mean where the stem is?
Yeah, it goes in a little bit. It's a sign of esrog. If you open it up, you'll see it's different than a lemon. A lemon is mostly flesh. It's mostly the juice part.
Yeah.
And esrog is mostly white.
Mostly white in there.
Yeah. Esrog actually has a very thin coating on top. Underneath that there's a yellow skin. There's yellow one, and underneath that is white, which is quite thick. That's called the busser of the esrog. Right. And underneath that is where the lemon juice comes from, which is underneath those lemon juice comes from, which is called chadre azera. That's where the seeds come from. Now, so that's how esrog is made up, and it's different than a lemon. Also, a lemon, the seeds go sideways, and the esrog, the seeds are up and down.
I guess if you could X-ray them,
they used to have, they had a Kivalevich esrog from the Shuleb Diskin, and they opened it up, the seeds were sideways, but there's some yuchas to get esrog. No, it doesn't pass it. It doesn't pass it, but not all the simonim necessarily pass it, it's esrog. But that's basically the sign of an esrog. Now, an esrog, sometimes you can have a hole in the pittim. Sometimes you can have a hole in the pittim. The way it grows naturally, there's a hole, and it goes down all the way into where the seeds are. That would be apostles. You can see it under a loop, but these look okay.
So now, that one that grew without?
Now some questions the pittim. So every esrog tree has a esrogim most of them have a esrogim without pittims. Some have with pittim. So what happens is when the esrog is small, the first thing that comes is a pittim. You have a huge pittim, and you have a tiny little esrog starting to bud. And then the pittim starts drying up. So many times the pittim will actually fall off before the fruit starts getting bigger. And at different stages in the tree it'll fall off. Like this one, where you see there's a little indenture in there, so that means that the pittim came off the tree early in the stages, before it actually became an esrog. Now, if you take one of, for example,
kosher?
Yeah, we'll discuss in a moment. This one, you see, comes out a little bit. Actually, a funny top. I have to check this one out.
That looks like it broke off.
This looks like it might have broken off. I have to check this. If they come out a little bit, so then it doesn't, because you see the flesh comes out. If it comes out a little bit, that means it broke off and dried up at a later stage. Dried up.
And that would be problematic.
No, so we hold halacha l'maisa, it's all kosher, as long as it fell off naturally while it was growing. Now, some that are machmir only when it grows, and when it falls off before it actually developed into an esrog. But there are many that hold that.
So how would this look different if it fell off? Like how would that?
You'll see it's ripped. This is actually a different kind of thing. I'll show you in a minute. But
I know some people prefer without, then you don't have a risk of it falling off.
Yeah.
You buy it without.
Now, yeah, I want to show you that the halacha of a pitim is like this. Pitim is a hardo. It's a hardo, it's hardo. Now, if the pitim falls off, it's a question. It's a shiloh if it's a psul and chasar because it's missing, or if it's a psul and hardo. What's the difference? The second days. If it's a psul and chasar, so then it's only possible the first day. The second day it's kosher. If it's a psul and hardo, then it'll be possible 7 days. Now, the pitim falling off, there's two parts to the pitim. There's the ukitz,
The stem.
and then there's the shashanta. If the shashanta falls off, it's still a kosher. No problem. Now, those that are mahader to get an esrog that the shashanta didn't fall off, it's more mahader, but it's kosher. If you have another one that the shashanta didn't fall off, take the other one. If you don't, or if you have one, let's say that the shashanta fell off, but it's not as nice of an esrog, you have a beautiful esrog that. I'm sorry, you have one the shashanta fell off, but it's a beautiful esrog. Like this one, if you have just a shashanta falling off, or you have not such a nice esrog where it's still on, you take the beautiful one, because it's just a hiddur. Now, if this part of the pitim falls off, that already gets involved in a psul chaser or a psul hadar. So if this part falls off, so the halacha is like this: Mikra didn't behold, as long as it's going up. We need another esrog, but as long as it's going up higher than the esrog, it's kosher. So we hold it's kosher. It's better to take another esrog. It's b'diavad. It's better to take another esrog, but it's kosher. So people have the pitim falling off. It's not a crisis. It's still a kosher esrog. The problem is only when it goes down all the way to the flesh and goes under. That's a problem.
Well, explain what you're saying when it goes
If
down
the
the
pitim will fall off, I'm not going to do it to this one, even though it's a puzzle esrog. If the pitim will fall off,
right.
so as long as it's still sticking up, it's
So
kosher.
the stem part.
So
there's
therefore,
a piece of stem remaining.
right. So therefore, some will be mahader if they're getting an esrog out of pitim, to say, well, as long as it's sticking up, so even if a chance it fell off later, or even if you hold it when it falls off on the tree, it's considered puzzle, it's sticking up anyway, so it's kosher. Others will tell you, no, better get one that's like this, which goes in, because this we know fell off before it developed into an esrog at all. This one fell off later in the stage, which is, some hold it's no good, but you're saying that it came up.
So two people
So that's the
look at
shiloh.
two answers, one would pick the other over the other.
However, might do a mash in the middle, as long as we know it fall off naturally
One way or the
in
other.
the stage of growing, yeah.
There's a cool thing we have the marsham on this one, or?
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. So that's it. Now, in the esrog, this is the chaitim. You see where it slopes up. That's called the chaitim, the nose. The chaitim is the hidden. You see esrog, that's what you see. So that's the hidden. So something up here, we want it to be clean. So, for example, these black dots here, apostle it, because that's a Scheiner mara.
Right.
Apostles in the top. If it would be on the bottom, like over here,
Still be
unless you have roiv the esrog, so you'd have to have 3 of them, and if you attach them, or 2 sometimes, usually when they're small you need 3, if you attach them it'll cover roiv the heck of the esrog, that will be a puzzle. The circumference of the esrog, that will pass if it's black. Now, so how many esrog that have black dots? Here's a dot on this esrog.
There's some dots
you can
that
see
can
it.
be
Take a
removed.
look at this dot. You see it?
Yeah. Now, could that be dirt, or that's actually inside?
So you would have to really check to see what it is. This dot is not black; it's brown, and looks to me like a small blepel.
Like dirt.
No, it's a small blepel.
What's blepel mean?
Explain what a blepel is, but it's a little scab that grew on top of it. So that's what it is. So it's brown, so that's kosher anyways. But if that would be black, okay, many places come hold today, even though black is a Scheiner mara, this puzzle. But many places come hold today. This is natural in this today. This is not natural in Esrog today. This is spoiled from within. This is something.
Is that a bruise?
There's probably some kind of. I'm not sure what it is. But this, you see, this is something which is a psul in the Esrog. This is a side thing that's this is still fresh. It's still muhadir. Not on it. So many places can be machshir today, especially if you can't see it.
Well, it's
holding
interesting
it like
because
this.
this Esrog is so green, it actually hides.
It hides it. When it gets a little yellow, you see a little more.
Is it what it appears to the eye?
Right.
So in some ways you're better off
Right,
with the
because
darker.
since it's a psul hadar,
Yeah.
so hadar is depending on how it appears to the eyes. If it's a psul,
Use the term that it was the darkness was natural in one case. What defines it as natural, as opposed to?
what defines it natural? It's not a spoiled. It's not something which is an external cause made this happen a little bit. Something got stuck in there. Something got on there.
So it's an external cause. It's not as big a problem.
No, this dot here is probably black.
It's sort of like a mum, like some sort of a blemish, right? And that's when it's a
There you go.
problem.
There's a little dot on top of that dot, which is really minute. Right on top of that, which may be black. It's hard to tell this light. It's maybe black. But it's very minute, so you can't see it. Naturally, you don't see it, so it's not a problem. And according to Moshe and many other poskim, it's natural in an Esrog. We don't consider that a passus. But if you see people looking for that, you know why.
Right.
So that's the chaytim. So that's when it's going on the chaytim and up. That's when you get this film out. So I have an Esrog
You
inside.
checked it with a magnifying glass. If you hadn't seen it without the magnifying glass,
I saw it without it. That's why I checked it.
so you saw it with the naked eye, but then you determined what it was with the magnifying glass.
So now, because if the Zman is there, there's no pseudo. Your whole concept
Could be
here is
also blood. It's hard to see in this light. So that's an Esrog. Now,
get another wedding.
many times you'll have.
Yeah, but not really.
This looks like it was peeled away a little bit. The skin is hard to see, and it was grown over. So you could have pus, or sometimes you can have a little underneath. But what happens is it grows over. It's still on the tree when it happens. It grows over. So as long as it scabs over, it's kosher. When I said a blettel before, many times that's what a blettel is. A blettel is a tiny scab on the esrog, which is kosher. It's always better if it's on the lower half, not on the chaytim. You know, the cleaner it is, the more muhuter it is, but it's not going to make it possible to scab. There's something called the chazazas, which is very unnatural. They actually have an esrog with it. I don't have it here, it's there. What time is it? I think I'll get it.
9:17.
Went back and they took care of themselves.
Maybe I should just go get it. It's very unnatural. I never saw it, but I found the chazazas on one of the... Chazazas is like a blister that grows on an esrog. Some people hold if you have these blettles that go higher up from the skin, it could be a chazazas. We don't hold like that. Mikra didn't hold his kosher. That's it. Now you see, I'm going to check for it soon, but before I do that, so we wrap up. You see, these pitims, a lot of the Eretz Yisrael ones, are made out of flesh. Some pitims are sticks that go up. Some pitims are flesh. So those that were machmir, that if it's made out of flesh, so if it breaks, it's possible. It's worse than a pitum that falls off if it's a stick. Because if it's a stick, we said as long as it's sticking up a little bit, like this one, it's going to be kosher. Whatever it is. It'll be kosher as long as it's sticking up a little bit.
This is more like part of the esrog itself.
More like part of the esrog itself, which could cause a problem because if it's dirty, some will say if it's black, maybe if
Actually,
it's
that
not.
does have black, doesn't it?
No, that's just.
Right over here.
That's brown.
Okay.
This is coming from getting dry and old. So in other words, this is going to fall off soon. You see how we
So
hit
these ones are from Israel?
Yeah. This is going to fall off, you see. So, because it gets, but if it's flesh, so some hold it's worse if it falls off. The good thing we hold is kosher, as long as it's sticking up. But some hold, since it's the flesh ones, so that's more of a psul. I'd like to just go check, look on that, it's probably dirt. You can see it's dirty, because, sometimes the dirt even gets under the skin.
You have to be careful, right? Because if you pick it out and you make a hole.
Yeah, so sometimes the dirt actually gets under the skin, and if you have wax, sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't come out. It doesn't pay to try. I did it once. I once had a black dot. I had a beautiful Esrog. I paid. I don't know what I paid for it. Beautiful, and it was like green like this, big. And then over Succos it turned yellow. It was even nicer. It was a beautiful yellow Esrog, but there was one black dot right over there.
That showed up.
Small little dot and showed. And it was clear it was dirt. But every time you do that compass, and so you're looking at it.
Can't find it.
So I tried to get it out. It was right under the skin. It wasn't a good idea because it got scratched all over. So.
And then you've made it possible that you've made a hole in it. Is that right?
This one is from this. So then, well, it wasn't possible. It depends how deep you go. Depends how deep you go. They'll do it on this one. We're not going to sell this one.
Probably better to use a Q-tip than a toothpick. Right? You're going to try to remove some dirt.
Q-tip won't do anything. Wax will. Yeah, it doesn't pay to use a toothpick. For sure, get something. I would cut this open just to show everybody what it is. Have a knife? Anybody have a knife here? Yeah. So we're going to cut it. I guess we'll cut it this way first.
Watch your fingers.
Sharp?
Oh yeah. Please be careful.
That's an easy cut. It smells good.
I've actually never seen one.
Here we go. So here, this is what I'm showing you. Here, this is the basar Esrog. Look, you see? These seeds are actually going sideways.
That's lemon.
This has a little lemon in it, this one. So that's why you're going to get a chaznish. These seeds, some of them are going up. No, actually, to go up. Let me see one second. Let's get out the seed.
Oh, this smells nice.
Well, actually, they go a little bit sideways.
Which one is the basar? The actual.
This is the basar.
Okay.
This no, sorry. This is the chedrei azera. This is the basar. And this is the klipa elyoina. You see, if you get a chasser, like a little bit goes in here like that. This just goes past the klipa elyoina. So, it's a machlokes. The Mishabura holds it's possible if it goes. See, there's a very thin. I don't know if you could see it. I just peeled it off. There's a very thin, like a plastic on top. You see that?
Film.
Like a film on top. You see that? That's the klipa elyoina. That's the top of skin.
Membrane.
According to the Mishabura, if you go deeper than that, you already made a chassid. According to many poskim, it's not. As long as you don't go into the white, it's kosher. So after the membrane, it's a big difference. It's a very big difference. With the Evan, you could pass them like the other Achronim. But according to the Mishabura, anything that goes beyond, goes already into the yellow, is already going to be, if it's missing part of the yellow, it's already going to be chassid. So that's the chedrei azera. So you're right, this looks a little bit, has a symbol of a lemon, but this is a symbol of a
If you've cross-breeded, you're going to have a bit of both.
Yeah. Many Esrogim are a little thicker, actually. The white is a little thicker. Yeah.
So it's a good one to cut open.
It's a thin Esrog.
It has a lot wrong with it.
Does chasser mean tassel?
Chassid means it's missing, and if it's missing, it's possible the first day, but the second day it's kosher. Now, even if it's chassid, it's machlokes how much it has to be missing. Does it have to be a mashu, or it has to be missing actually a shear, it's machlokes how much has to be missing. But the first day, you should use a different one. If it's missing, the second day is kosher. Moses says of Chanina, matbul be'virachol. He dipped his Esrog, took a bite of it, and then he used it. So it's, even if it's chasser, it's kosher on the second day.
Chanina?
Yeah, the Gemara says. So that's. I just wanted to show you that. So you could actually peel off that film. You could peel off, and it's still kosher, unless that whole film is missing from the whole.
So that's how you could get. I mean, can you get rid of the black dot by just getting the?
Yeah. So that's a very good question. So some place can say, let's say you have a black dot. So if I could get rid of the black dot by just getting, if it's a surface black dot, I just take off the thin film on top and the black dot comes off, it's kosher. So if that's the case, even if I don't take it off, since I could take it off,
It's as if you took
it's as if I take it off and it'll be kosher.
The problem is you don't know whether you get it off by just taking it off.
You don't know. It might be deeper.
Yeah.
But if it's just the surface, and according to the other place, until it goes actually into the white, it could be kosher, right?
That would make any black dot
Right,
okay.
right. But this doesn't work the second day. Even though the second day, you see the black dot, here's a shayla. Black dot is a psul hadar, which is possible 7 days. Chassu is only possible the first day. So after the first day, I go over to my black dot, and I go and I cut it out fully, cut out the black dot,
Watch your fingers, please.
and then it's kosher.
But you've got the white showing you.
This is a big shiloh. It's a big shiloh. We're not going to go into now. But the second day is kosher. Second day.
And it wouldn't be if you just left the black dot, because that would be harder.
So that's a big question. So if you could do that on the second day, but
But is it as beautiful?
never saw anyone walk around with a little Esrog like this. And
It's mashkola, but is it beautiful when you
the
cut
shiloh
a
is
piece
once it's possible if you can make it kosher by could it be choizel or kashrusai, something that's possible because it could it become back kosher by cutting it off. That's the shiloh.
Right.
So we hold mikvah you can't. Once
Can
it's
you cut it
Once
up?
it's possible, you can't.
What?
Can you cut it up during the chag itself? Is there any issue with it?
Yeah, it's kosher. It's kosher. Also, it's
Wow.
kosher. I mean, it's more mahudr if it's not, I imagine. But it's more mahudr if it's not cut up.
No, but the action of repairing on your...
Well, that's what you mean, making it kosher.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
On
yeah,
the
so
chag
that's what I'm
itself.
saying. Anyways, we hold that you can't make it kosher. If it's possible already, you can't make it kosher.
Because you go, on that basis,
Yeah.
the question would be full moed.
The question is only if you see, if you have a black dot that doesn't go deep in, you can just the skin level, so then it's kosher. So I could fix it to take off that black dot. It's just a simmer. Since I could take it off, so it's kosher without taking it off. But this is an apostle, so if it's apostleless, cutting it off is not going to make it
Can't
kosher.
restore it. Right?
Yeah, it's only the
So this is what you did
that's,
with your Esrog, right?
What?
This is what you did with your Esrog when you took
But before you...
Oh, just a little bit. I just got it was just on the skin, you know.
Right.
It didn't go in.
But that was before you...
But you know what happens is if you take away a little of the skin, the juice starts coming out. It's not such a good idea.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the Esrog.